Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's always been a phrase around. You probably have heard it even since you were a kid. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. Well, think about this. You become what you think. You become what you think. So what are you thinking? If you're stuck in life, can't move things forward, feel that something's not aligned, you've got more to offer yourself and everybody else around you, maybe you're thinking in the wrong direction. We're going to talk about that today with somebody who empowers people to really move their lives forward and reach their full potential. She is an empowerment coach. She's Valerie Peck, and she's with us today. Welcome. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me, Steve.
Loving what we're going to talk about today because it is so important. And I don't think we realize what's going on up here is going on out here. And it's not even just the things we say, it's just the things we're thinking can really change our lives for the better or for the worse. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Skeptical people will always say, where's the proof? Give me the proof. What are you talking about? How is that even possible? You think this and it becomes that. What's your proof? Examples, things you've heard?
Olympic athletes, mountain climbers, anybody that succeeds has used the power of thought. Because what you think, what you focus on, expands. The world around us, everything that is positive and negative, is proof of the power of our thoughts.
Somebody comes before you and they say, at this point in my life, I should be much more successful. At this point in my life, I should have the perfect partner. At this point in my life, I should be doing so much more. All of that. It's not happening. What would you say to them?
What are you thinking? If we focus on what we don't have, that's exactly what we get. And so when we're focusing on what we desire, what we dream of, what we so want, and we are keeping that in the forefront, those thoughts help us reach those goals, those outcomes, because thought creates emotion, emotion creates behaviors, behaviors create outcomes. So hooking it all together, starting with a good thought at the beginning, takes you all the way out to a good outcome.
And I'll bet you a lot of people will hear this and think, well, yes, I know. I should have that house. I should have that job. But they're probably not truly analyzing what's going on. I should have that house, but there's always a but I'll never make enough money to have that. Sure, it'd be great, and I should have that. And a lot of us feel that we're not good enough or don't deserve it. But even if you got past that, to say, I am good enough, I do deserve that. But come on, let's be real. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to make enough money to buy that house. Come on. Then you're not, right? You're not going to.
Then you're not.
Yeah, you asked for it.
My question right now is, what's already on the way to you? What have you been thinking about? What's already coming? Is it what you want or what you've been thinking about?
This sounds like it all boils down to manifesting.
We manifest everything all the time. Worry is a crazy powerful negative manifester.
Yeah.
If you are spending time in anxiety and worry and fear, boy, you have just supercharged all of that to happen for you. And nobody wants that. That's not where people want to be. People want to be loved and supported and successful and, just living the very best their most purposeful life right now.
Mm. With that worry, that anxiety, and it's real. Some of us, have some challenges, but the more you bring that into your life, it's almost as if you went like this. I'm worried. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, all that. You just took a mountain and you put it in front, and you took another mountain and you put it in front of success, abundance, all of the stuff that you really wanted was over here. Now there's a mountain. Now you got to work even harder to get over the mountain to get what you want on the other side.
Exactly. Exactly. And most of us don't realize we were never taught how to think positive. We live in a world surrounded by so much negativity. It's hard to stay in the positive lane. It's hard to realize that we have control over our thoughts, our emotions, our outcomes, our behaviors, our
Yeah.
perspectives. We're just not programmed that way from day one. And that's nobody's fault. It's just not mainline knowledge.
Do you
But it's
think,
knowledge and it can be learned and practiced and just you can get this. It's easy.
do you think that we're programmed to be negative from the start? Because I thought about this once that everything we're exposed, and it starts when you're a kid. That's how you got programmed, and then you continue that program as life goes on. But right from the point where you start walking and you go over to the kitchen table and you grab a salt shaker, it's like, oh, what's this in your mind? And then mom or dad's like, put that down. No, 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 no. Put that down. It's not going to hurt you, but they don't want, clean up the salt or put it in your eyes or whatever. That negative. There was a negative situation you were involved in. As a kid, that's like, I'm sorry I touched that. But then add those up, those negative situations along the way, and it's almost as if we're programmed to be negative. That sound right?
Yeah, we come by this stage in our lives, in our adult lives, we've got a lot of negative emotions built up in our past. We have a lot of negative beliefs, limiting beliefs. And I one of my processes in coaching is helping people get rid of that, to release the negative beliefs, to replace it with really positive ones, and just to get back in the positive, successful lane. Research out of the University of Washington says that we are much more programmed for negative than we are the positive. It takes more effort to stay in the positive lane than the negative. The negative's real easy. It's what we know. It's how we've been programmed mostly.
Yeah.
And it takes some effort, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen.
Totally understand it, totally see it. So I want to go into in a moment how you help somebody transform into their best life, into realizing all this stuff, into changing their mindset. How do you address somebody who says, okay, Valerie, all right, so I got to start thinking positive stuff. So I'm not supposed to worry about the bills piling up. So I'm not supposed to worry about this situation over here. I got to look at it, in a positive way, but I don't want to, I could lose my house if I'm not paying the bills. How do you address all of that?
Choice. You can choose to respond negatively or positively to every event that comes along. Okay, I've got bills. I need to make a process to pay them. Maybe I need to go do another job. Maybe I need to change something. But there's always choice. Even in the hard places, there's always choice in how we respond. The event plus the response equals the outcome.
I fully understand what you're saying. And I, in the past, worried about money, even though There was no reason to. I would think, well, what if that job goes away? What if that changes over there? What if that changes over there? I have to be honest with you. I don't want to call it an obsession, but it was an unfounded worry where I should have just been riding the wave of fun, and did I have, an overabundance? No, just everything was good, but I worried about it and I saw what it did to my life. And now I don't worry so much because I feel everything will work out. Everything, as long as you do the right thing, the universe will support you. It'll all work out. Don't worry about it.
And negative thoughts can be kicked to the curb. In my life, I've had a lot of challenges that have come along. And there was a time in my life where I had this reoccurring dark thought. And I learned a strategy that basically said, I don't have to think that thought. And I basically, every time the thought came up, it was like, nope, don't have to think that.
Mm.
I don't need that. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't lift me up. And pretty soon, instead of the long conversation that I would have about shutting down the thought, it was like, oh, never mind. No, gone. And every time the thought comes up, it's gone because I have practiced that technique so many times that now it's the strong thought in my head is I don't need to think that negative thought.
Like the big hand comes in and squashes it
Kick it to
immediately.
the curb, get rid of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, totally. And even those thoughts we have where we judge people, we all do it. That's human nature. But it's not love. It's not spreading positivity. When you see somebody in your vision walking down the street or whatever, your immediate is like, what the heck are they wearing? And you're judging immediately. Even to change those thoughts around, it's like, beep, stop that. Stop that. And you're sending negative energy to them and also to yourself.
Oh, yeah. Choosing negative thoughts creates a lot of negative energy that you just end up carrying around.
Mm-hmm.
We've all heard the term, you've got old baggage, you've got excess baggage. That baggage is full of a lot of negativity. That energy charge needs to get released.
How do you release that kind of stuff?
I've got a process that really it's a quantum mind thought process that uses just the power of release and forgiveness and open awareness to new positive thoughts. That's a big reset.
Interesting you say forgiveness. Does that come into play with a lot of this?
Forgiveness is everything. Forgiveness is another power tool. I'm all about power tools. And most people, when you say forgiveness, they think the people that may have injured me, harmed me, made me feel bad, they don't deserve that. And it's like, no, this is not about them. Yes, they did that to you, but you're the one carrying all of the negative stuff. I can guarantee they don't think about you and what happened to you anymore.
They've already moved on. Yeah.
They don't care, but you care. You're still holding on to all of the negative hurt, the shame, whatever happened. And when you forgive somebody, you're the one that gets the benefit. You get the release. You get the power exchange. So forgiveness, the alchemy of forgiveness heals massive amounts of the negative things that have happened in our lives.
Disclaimer in that when you forgive, truly forgive, you're not condoning what was done.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. It's just you're releasing. And I've often heard that you should send somebody who has done you wrong energetically, verbally in your mind. You don't have to tell them. Don't even stay away from them, but send them love and light. It's flip it around and say, I wish you love, best of luck. That was that. That was then. This is now.
Yeah. The, I use love and light all the time. The power of love and light. It's
Mm,
just, you know, sending people good things because that radiates back to you. You know, your thought is positive when you're sending that out. It's not negative. And
yeah.
so there's nothing negative being stored up when you send people love and light.
Somebody once told me that when you point at somebody else, and let's say somebody did you wrong, you haven't forgiven them, and you're like, you look what you've done. You, well, look what's happening. There's three fingers pointing at you when you're pointing at somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting concept that is mostly misunderstood.
Yeah.
And a lot of, you know, when I'm working with a client, I will tell them, you know, I'm going to ask you to write a letter of forgiveness. And you're not going to send it, absolutely not going to send it.
Hmm.
You're going to take it out and in some safe manner, you're going to dispose of it. You're going to burn it. You're going to shred it. You're just going to energetically and physically, symbolically let it go.
Love that. Love that idea. And physically write it because it's been scientifically proven that the mind hand connection is so much more powerful than just typing it and hitting print. You have to write it out because it's almost like it makes it real.
Energy flows out to the end of the fingertips, through the utensil, onto the paper,
Yeah.
out. So
Mm,
yes, absolutely. Journaling for my clients is a big expectation. And a lot of people are not really game to receptive to that initially. Some aren't, and that's their choice. This is a free will universe. And when I suggest things to people, I always say, you know, feel free to accept or reject this. You know, I'm just putting this out there. You're the one that accepts the idea, wants to do the work, does the work, and gets the healing, gets the release, gets the reward.
and it's based on proven principles. Even manifesting. There's so much documentation that it works. Even Tesla. Here's a guy that all he did was manifest. I lost track of the number. I think it's like he's got 500 to 1,000 patents, and it all came from manifestation. All these things didn't exist. He was, I will admit, from what I've learned, obsessed with it in terms of manifesting, and he had different techniques that he used and all that. But it came down to the fact that it worked. It worked, and it's been proven there, and so many times again. I know people that I trust that one woman manifested the perfect partner. Her husband, who um, in her description wasn't the best in terms of how he treated her, passed away. She manifested somebody new. And a week later, wrote it, Valerie, put it under her bed. And the guy showed up, the new man showed up in a week. I know somebody else who is a coach of sorts and wanted a high-end vehicle, sports car, convertible. Didn't have money she couldn't afford it. She manifested it. And I believe it was 5 months. And we're talking like $60,000. Had cash, bought it in cash. And she's not making it up. It's like I don't know how she did it, but it worked. It worked. But she believed in it. We have to believe.
Beliefs are incredibly powerful. If we don't have a strong belief about something, it it doesn't exist.
On the forgiveness level, one final thought on that. When you write that letter of forgiving somebody, I can't maybe just change the word. Releasing somebody is another way.
Well, we release ourselves. I mean, think of forgiveness as this. Forgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die.
Yeah.
You know, we hold on to all of this stuff. We're not willing to let go of all of this negative stuff. And we're the one that suffers. We're the one that pays. They don't, they're not impacted. Forgiveness is all about you letting you be free.
What about when you know that you have to forgive yourself? Is it the same process?
Absolutely.
Hmm. Even writing that letter.
Yes. That's a task that I give to clients is write a letter to your inner child. Tell them all the things that you want them to know, that you're sorry, but that you're there, that you love them, that you support them, because that inner child never goes away. That
Mm.
inner child is the one that learned all the negative things, all the positive things. That inner child is still running a lot of our unconscious programming.
Now, when you say tell your inner child through a letter, forgiveness, that you're sorry, many times as children, we didn't do anything. Things just happen around us, big, small, whatever they are, but they made an imprint. And that's
Yep.
how we're living our lives now. We're acting like children, essentially. Um, are we sorry that that happened to us? Let's say you got bullied as a kid, bad, got bullied a lot, and there was other stuff going on in your life. Are you saying to your younger self, "I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and you were alone during that period." I'm going hypothetical here, but I'm here for you. I got you. I got your back. Don't worry about it. That kind.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
we have like 30 seconds or so left. I want to ask you about NLP. Now, I've heard about it. I've experienced it. Neuro linguistics programming. You do enhanced version of that. Love to talk deeper about that in the future when we get together. But in a sentence, what is the enhanced way that that works?
It's based on the alchemy of forgiveness and the ecology of doing the right thing with programming and learning new power of how you think and operate.
And thank you for that. You think like I think. Like the what you say is what I'm thinking. And I learned here today how important forgiveness is. It's in moving our lives forward. Scale of 1 to 10. In all of this, in all of the work, in the transformation, and all the stuff that you help people on a coaching level, that forgiveness thing, where would that be? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most important.
9.9.
All right. We have more to talk about.
Yes.
Wow. And final question in 10 seconds. Gratitude. Does that figure in with this too?
Oh man. Gratitude set I have a gratitude process every morning, and it sets the tone for my day. Gratitude sets the tone for my life. Gratitude sets the tone for how I interact with everybody.
Wow.
I,
All
I am
right.
just grateful.
Got to talk about that next time we get together. Valerie, how do we find you if somebody has a question, wants to feel empowered, really get unstuck? How do they find you?
ValeriePeckCoaching.com. There's a booking icon on the very top of the page. And I offer a free connect call with everybody so that we can just check in and connect and see if, you know, what I can offer is something that you want.
Why wouldn't we want to get unstuck and move our lives forward? I don't know. Uh, Fantastic conversation with you today, and truly looking forward to getting together again.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network. on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.